Welcome back to Every Woman, where this week we're discussing women and the politics of water. In many parts of the world, women are taking matters into their own hands and fighting for more control over access to clean water and better sanitation. Well, I'm joined now by two women who are actively seeking change. MARCIA BREWSTER, advisor to the Gender and Water Alliance, and BIRAJ SWAIN, project research officer at WATERAID India, who joins us from Delhi. BIRAJ, if I can start with you, how are women getting involved in water management at a grassroots level?
I have had the really good opportunity to be meeting women and completely heartwarming scenes of seeing women in really far off, completely inaccessible remote areas, in areas like you haven't heard of them. I'm sure even Delhi, the capital city of India, hasn't heard of. Reclaiming spaces, negotiating spaces, going into the village meetings, going into the block meeting, which is quite important in terms of administration unit, and questioning choices of technologies, questioning choices of allocations, questioning why agricultural water is always more important than drinking water. These are silent revolutions that we should be celebrating.
Okay, Marcia, do you agree? Is there a silent revolution going on? Are women becoming more proactive in this area?
Well, it's more than silent, I would say, because at the national level, there are a lot of women who have taken over ministries of agriculture or irrigation, environment, water, and now there are about 40 women leaders who are in charge of allocating water at the national level. One of them, Maria Mutagamba, who is Minister of State for Uganda, has become the chairman of the African Ministerial Council on Water. So that group makes a lot of decisions about how water is going to be managed in Africa. And she has changed that from being a very technical organization to being a very socially oriented organization. She herself has carried water. A lot of the other ministers in Africa have carried water themselves. They are really looking at affirmative action to bring women into the technical and policy-making and decision-making fields so that they can be involved in improving water management at the rural level and at the slums, in the slum areas.
Okay, well, both of you stay where you are. One place where women have refused to back down over the issue of water is the NARMADA River in India. A succession of dams constructed along the course of the river over the past 2 decades has displaced millions of people and deprived countless others of their main water source. The popular movement to regain control over precious water supplies is led by women. Well, Every Woman went to Khandwa in Madhya Pradesh, the site of the most recent protest.
For the last 20 years, I have been involved with women's group in the NARMADA BACHAO and mobilizing with women. Women are the most powerful group who are mobilized into a movement. I think it's very interesting because the perspective of women in a movement, it's a very different perspective from how men look at all these issues.
इस मीटिंग में जाया करे, 1-2 बार जैसे गए तो उनको पता लगा कि बोले भाई हमारा गांव भी डूब में है। तो हमने कहा कि अपने गांव जब डूब में है तो क्या पुरुष से पुरुष लड़ोगे, महिला नहीं लड़ सकती है। तब हमने महिलाओं में भी ये परिवर्तन डाल दिया।
And I think it's only because of the uniqueness of the women's perspective that movements like ours have succeeded. The relationship with the family, with the children, with the community, with tasks related to food and so on. The whole question of women's social role, they sort of are reality checks in a way that they're never for men. For months and months, people there struggle that they should build a septic tank system in the, it's an urban center. Last year and the year before that, there were epidemics. Every house people were sick in the monsoon.
बाहर गोदड़ी बिछा लेते हैं, रोड पे पड़े रहते हैं, इससे हालत चिकनगुनिया हो रहा है, कहीं मलेरिया हो रहा है, कहीं कुछ हो रहा है, हमारी तरफ तो कुछ ध्यान ही नहीं है ना.
Basically the women then who stood up and who found the courage and the power you know, to shout at the authorities and hold marches. I mean, not even with envy. When it would become unbearable, like 400 women would get together and go to the NHDC and said, "Are you giving us water?" There's no drinking. If you went to Harsood, you must have seen that in that entire, you know, some, I don't know, 30, 40 acres of land, there's actually only one hand pump and there are 2 tube wells.
2 दिन में कभी नल आते, कभी 4 दिन में आते हैं। ऐसा नल आते तो बासी कुछ और किसी के घर बच जाता है, तो फिर एक घर ये 4-5 घर वाले मिलके वही पानी को पुराते हैं और फिर देखते हैं नल आएंगे। परसों भी नहीं आए ना नल। पानी भी ऐसा आता है कि हम बता नहीं सकते, हरा कच पानी, ये तावे का, बीमार भी हो जाओ उसमें।
It's almost the first time they're coming out of their houses. And it's a very beautiful thing to watch. Some 100 young women aged 21 who were, you know, at the forefront of the movement. So for all these women, it's even being beaten up by the police, facing the police, going to jail. Each of it is not only repression, it's also celebration. The dam they're fighting or the displacement they're fighting is negative. But the repression itself sort of unlocks many things.
यानी हमें भी यानी अंदर ऐसी हमारी भावना में विश्वास हो गया कि भाई आंदोलन के साथ जुड़ के काफ़ी हमने फ़ायदा हमारा हक का ले लिया है और भी लेने की क्षमता रखते हैं.
It's the most inspiring thing in this struggle for me is the number of powerful women I've met singly and in groups. Whether it's Parveen Jalsindhi or, you know, Krishna here, they have really been able to challenge the state and do things that is very difficult to imagine. You know, like sitting in the water for 7 days, not knowing whether you're going to get up. It's basically the women who have been able to sustain the struggle. Without the women, the struggle could not have been sustained.
7 रोज तक हम वहीं बैठे और 7 रोज के बाद हमारी सुनवाई हो गई. कुछ खाया पिया नहीं, पानी तक भी ग्रहण नहीं किया. जैसे कि तैसे ऐसे ही 7 रोज समाधि लगाकर जल समाधि बैठे रहे. कुछ इधर हिलने हुलने का भी काम नहीं किया. 7 रोज के बाद एडीएम, एसपी, कलेक्टर, मंत्री जी जो भी गए, उनने हमारी मांग पूरी करी और हमारी जीत हुई.
The relationship with the Narmada is very special. I mean, anybody who lives, you know, in any part of the river valley, they feel very emotionally about the river, and it's, you know, it's not just a body of water.
जब तक जीवन रहेगा, जब तक अपने से आने या अपने चलेगा, तब तक हम इसी आंदोलन में जुड़े रहेंगे.
देखो तो पुलिस की गाड़ी आ रही है, साहब आ रहे, बोला नहीं समाधि आप मीटर लगाओगे. हमने बोला कि यहाँ कोई रोजगार नहीं है, आप मीटर लगा दोगे, बिल चालू कर दोगे. ये हाल कर दिए हैं डीसी ने भी और शासन वालों ने भी और सबने कि 8-4-9 की कोई सुनवाई नहीं है.
Well, that struggle still continues. BIRAJ, you were talking about a silent revolution. Those women were quite noisy, but do protests like that actually make a difference?
I think one of the things which is completely important and completely innovative about most of these struggles is women, when they are at the forefront, are not challenged by limited notions of solutions. And this is the imagination which I think is at the heart of most of the struggles. And there was a reference to the water quality. And I would like to say that one of the things that India right now is happening in India is a policy decision to shift the focus back into water quality. Now, why is this important? It is important because it's the first time that the state is recognizing the responsibility of public health on its own self. So there is a subtle shift of responsibility from the individual and household only back to the state.
BIRAJ has made the point that these struggles at a grassroots level do increase awareness, they do have an effect, but are they translating into real power over control of water at a higher level within the water industry on a global level?
Well, let me say one thing. I think that they do translate into empowerment of women. Access to water really improves the situation of women, and they can do a lot more than when they have to walk 3 hours a day to get their water. So they may have access to more income, for example, or more time for education. So, and especially the girls, if the girls can go to school because they don't have to carry the water, it makes a big difference in the empowerment of women, and I think that's a key point that we should keep in mind.
Well, I want to ask both of you, are governments taking this seriously enough, and should it be more of a political issue in terms of gender? BIRAJ, what do you think?
I would agree with what Marcia said, and taking off from there, I would say that it's not just about women being empowered. It's about the whole process of public participation in governance, democratizing governance of essential sectors like water.
But do governments take it seriously? Because I mean, in India, for example, the Indian government spends 8 times more on military and defence issues than it does on water and sanitation. So are governments treating this as a priority?
Actually, it's spending at this point of time something about 26 times more. 13% of the GDP goes for military spending, and 0.225% of dedicated budget goes to water sanitation.
Marcia, I know that you've said women's projects improve access to water and sanitation, and that is something that benefits the whole community. So giving women more control benefits the whole community.
It's an excellent investment. It's an investment in the community, and it's an investment in the future. So I just wanted to say that the estimated costs to meet the Millennium Development Goals in water and sanitation are $11.3 billion per year, which is nothing compared to what we're spending on arms.
Well, this is clearly a subject we could debate for a long, long time. Marcia, BREWSTER and BIRAJ, SWAIN, thank you very much indeed for talking to Everywoman. And if you have any comments, you can contact us via email on everywoman@aljazeera.net. Until next time, from all the team here, bye-bye.